Hey Pathfinder GMs, let me know if this has ever happened to you. Player gets a cool specific item, they kind of love it, becomes core to their kit. Then, a couple of levels go by, the DC falls off and the modifier for the roll stops hitting, even on the high rolls. Then suddenly, that item they love so much is being taken to the local merchant and changing hands for a couple of healing potions. Like, this sucks, yeah? Well, today, hopefully, I'll be able to give you some help and advice to fix it. Welcome to Obscura Advice, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the more controversial mechanics for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. That is static DCs and modifiers on specific magic items. Now, before I dive into this too much, I want to get ahead on a couple of things. This is not a beginner Pathfinder 2 GM video. This is for if you have a bit more experience under your belt, because we are stepping outside the system as written and doing some kit bashing based off observations. There's a reason item scaling isn't standardized. The DCs change depending on what the item does and how often it can be used. Likewise, the damage a specific item does changes for a host of reasons. So to standardize it would involve a write-up involving pages and pages and wouldn't necessarily cover every use case. Even what I'm talking about in this video isn't going to cover everything, and is more guidance than actual solid rules. I just hope it helps, and I'm going to try my hardest to keep the math to a minimum and simplify as much as possible. Now, like I said, there will be maths, but I will be showing examples and I'll try to go through this step by step. So, let's start with something simple. Here's the Serpent Dagger, a level 5 item and pretty popular with rogues. The biggest complaint I hear about it is that the DC doesn't scale. The DC 19 and 21 is great when you first get it, but in a couple of levels that DC becomes pretty trivial to overcome. So let's scale it up. To begin with, we need to figure out how the DC relates to the level of the item. To do this, we'll grab the level of the item, in this case 5, and the DC by level chart. Now, what the chart tells us is that the DC by level for level 5 is 20, which doesn't match what we have for the item. Its second effect is a DC 19, and the poison is 21, but this also gives us our answer. The DC for the second effect is 1 less than the DC by level, whereas the poison is 1 more than the DC by level. Now we have this information, scaling becomes pretty easy. Our rogue has been out adventuring for a couple of levels, and getting back to the city wants to empower their favorite dagger. So, they were level 5 when they first got it, but now they're level 8. So, we're bringing out our DC by level chart once again, and find the DC for level 8 should be 24. And as previously discussed, the second should be 1 less than the DC by level, and the poison should be 1 more. This gives us a DC of 23 and 25 respectively. And voila, the Serpent Dagger is empowered for level 8. But, I hear someone ask, what about the damage? Because the Serpent Dagger's poison deals 1d8 poison damage and makes the target enfeebled to 1. How does that scale? Well, this brings us to the next section. Using our Serpent Dagger as an example, we just do multiplication. So at level 5, the poison deals 1d8 poison damage, giving us 5 times 1 for a total of 5. 5 for the level and 1 for the damage. Now we have our formula, we just have to alter the numbers. If we want to bring the damage up to 2d8, the equation becomes 5 times 2, giving us 10. So the level of the item should be 10. This means that for the poison damage to go up to 2d8, the item level should be at least 10. Putting this together, this means that if our rogue comes back at level 10 to empower their Serpent's Dagger, the DC for its second effect should be 26, the DC for the poison should be 28, and deal 2d8 poison damage on a failed save. Whew! Alright. Yes, lots of maths, but we're getting through it. Last part, and then I promise we're done with the maths and the numbers for a while. How much should we charge for this level bump empowerment? Well, to work it out, we take the price of the base item. In the case of our Serpent Dagger, it costs 150 gold pieces. To work out how much it would cost to be empowered at level 10, we bring out the treasure table and find out how much a weapon costs at that level. For level 10, it fluctuates between 900 and 1000 gold pieces, but our 2 best case scenarios, because they're weapons, a +2 striking weapon and the +2 striking hammer ups and mighty blows, are 1000 gold pieces, so we'll use those. With those figures, we take the base cost of our item, 150, and subtract it from the base cost of a level 10 item, 1000. This gives us our final number of 850 gold pieces. So empower our level 5 Serpent Dagger all the way to level 10 would cost 850 gold pieces. Now, That's the maths for the most part done. This section will be regarding static modifiers on bonuses to skill checks. I'll be real, regarding bonuses to checks, it seems to be based on level brackets. 3 to 9 is +1, 10 to 17 is +2, and 18 above gets the +3. Thankfully, in most cases where that comes up, Paizo has already included the upgraded version, so you shouldn't have to do much eye-pulling in that regard. As for static modifiers for other things, in the remaster, cases of this seem to be vanishingly few, referring to the character's own skill or ability instead. However, when it does come up, apply a similar principle to what we did for working out the DC, but instead add 10 to the modifier to get a theoretical DC, and work backwards from there. All that said, I need to say some things. First, this is advice. This shouldn't be treated as standard. As always, your table, your rules. The intention is to help, and like a lot of things with Pathfinder 2, my combo is complicated, but with some practice it becomes pretty rapid. Second is, I don't know the underlying reason for why the DCs are chosen in the first place. I know they tend to be around the DC by level, and I can guess at reasonings, but I don't have anything concrete, just observations. In closing, I know this was a pretty math-heavy video, but static DCs on items are something I've seen come up a lot in online discussion, and thought people might appreciate someone talking about it. From a design perspective, I'd like to see more scaling DCs on items. Even basing them on the fundamental runes the items has would be nice. But I understand there are factors going on that we don't know about that might be preventing this. That said, I hope this helps people keep those specific items relevant at higher levels. I'd also like to thank you all from the bottom of what is generously called my heart for all the positive response these scripted videos I've been getting. It's just encouraged me to do more. So, if you like this video, feel free to like it and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, if you've thoughts or opinions on the video or suggestions for further videos, you can drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day, a good night, a good week, no matter where you are in the world. And remember, as always, we are the storytellers. Goodbye.